Welcome to Bible Quiz Tube. Blessed one, today you're diving into 25 challenging true or false questions from the foundation of all Scripture, the Book of Genesis Bible Quiz. Journey from Adam's garden to Noah's Ark, from Abraham's faith to Joseph's dreams. Test your knowledge of the details that matter, names, numbers, places, and promises from the very beginning. Are you ready to prove you know the book where it all began? Let the quiz begin. Question 1. The Spirit of God was hovering over the waters before the 7 days of creation began. True or false? The correct answer is true. The explanation. Genesis chapter 1 verse 2 states, "And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters." The description of the Spirit's movement is recorded immediately after the heavens and earth were created, before the spoken creation commands began, signifying God's active presence and preparation. Question 2. After Adam and Eve sinned, God placed a seraphim with a flaming sword to guard the way to the tree of life. Time to think. True or false? The correct answer is false. The explanation. The statement is false because Genesis chapter 3 verse 24 specifies the guardians were cherubims and a flaming sword which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. Seraphim are a distinct order of angels often associated with fire and worship. Isaiah chapter 6. The cherubim were placed there to enforce the consequence of sin, preventing access to eternal life while fallen. Question 3. Dinah was the daughter of Rachel. True or false? The correct answer is false. The explanation. This is false. Dinah was the daughter of Jacob and Leah, as confirmed in Genesis chapter 46 verse 15, where she is listed among the children born to Leah in Padan Aram. She was the full sister of 6 brothers, including Reuben and Judah. Her subsequent tragic story of defilement in Shechem, Genesis chapter 34, caused severe conflict and violence among Jacob's family. Question 4. Noah was 500 years old when he became the father of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Pick from. True or false? The correct answer is true. The explanation. Genesis chapter 5 verse 32 confirms the statement, recording that Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begat Shem, Ham, and Japheth. This established the generational starting point for the new world that would follow the global flood. It implies that Noah waited a considerable time before beginning his immediate family, yet still lived 450 years after the events. Question 5. The Tower of Babel was built out of stone and mortar. True or false? The correct answer is false. The explanation. The statement is false. Genesis chapter 11 verses 3 to 4 describes the builders using technology specific to the region. "Let us make brick and burn them thoroughly, and they had brick for stone and slime asphalt tar had they for mortar." They chose manufactured materials over natural stone and mortar, demonstrating their human ingenuity and desire to build a permanent monument to their own unity and power. Question 6. In the time of Peleg, a descendant of Shem, the earth was divided. True or false? The correct answer is true. The explanation. Genesis chapter 10 verse 25 records that during the life of Eber's son, Peleg, was the earth divided. While this could refer to linguistic division, Babel, traditional biblical interpretation, connects this name directly to the great geographical separation of the continental landmasses, reflecting a major global reorganization during his time, shortly after the flood events. Question 7. When Abram rescued Lot from Kedorlaomer, the battle took place in tar pits located in the valley of Siddim. True or false? The correct answer is true. The explanation. The statement is true. Genesis chapter 14 verse 10 explicitly states that the battle between the four kings and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah took place in the Vale of Siddim, which was full of slime pits, tar pits. This extremely treacherous terrain resulted in many soldiers falling into the pits while attempting to flee the superior attacking forces, leading to a disorganized retreat. Question 8. Just prior to the flood, God announced that human life would be limited to about 100 years. Possible answers. True or false? The correct answer is false. The explanation. The limitation God placed on human lifespan just prior to the flood was 120 years. Genesis chapter 6 verse 3 records God saying, "Yet his days shall be 120 years." This proclamation marked the final period of grace and patience given to the extraordinarily wicked generation before the devastating judgment of the global flood commenced. Question 9. The Jordan plain that Lot chose for himself was compared to the garden of the Lord. True or false? The correct answer is true. The explanation. Genesis chapter 13 verse 10 describes Lot looking upon the plain of Jordan and seeing that it was well watered everywhere, even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt. This lush comparison indicates the immense physical attraction and perceived blessing of the land, heavily influencing Lot's disastrous choice to separate from Abram and settle near wicked Sodom. You're doing great so far. If you're enjoying the quiz, hit the like button and subscribe for more Bible quiz content. Share your score in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Let's dive back in. Question 10. God promised Abram a smoking firepot would pass between the animal pieces, but it was actually a flaming torch that passed through. Think about these. True or false? The correct answer is false. The explanation. The statement is false because Genesis chapter 15 verse 17 describes both objects passing between the pieces of the covenant animals, a smoking furnace and a burning lamp, flaming torch, that passed between those pieces. Both symbols represent the confirmed presence of God, often associated with smoke and fire, unilaterally ratifying his unconditional covenant with Abram, taking the judgment upon himself. Question 11. Hagar named the Lord who spoke to her El Roi, the God who sees me. True or false? The correct answer is true. The explanation. The statement is true. After the angel of the Lord spoke to Hagar in the wilderness, she named the Lord, "Thou God seest me," which is El Roi in Hebrew, Genesis chapter 16 verse 13. This naming expresses her profound realization that God was present and attentive to her suffering and despair, confirming God's mercy and faithfulness even to the marginalized and servants. Question 12. Reuben was the brother who guaranteed Benjamin's safety on the second trip to Egypt. True or false? The correct answer is false. The explanation. It was Judah, not Reuben, who personally guaranteed Benjamin's safety and safe return to Jacob on the second trip to Egypt. In Genesis chapter 43 verse 9, Judah tells Jacob, "I will be surety for him. Of my hand shalt thou require him." Judah's pledge was instrumental in convincing a grieving Jacob to risk sending his youngest son to meet the powerful Egyptian governor, Joseph. Question 13. Joseph's brothers sold him to Ishmaelites for 20 shekels of silver. True or false? The correct answer is true. The explanation. The statement is true. Genesis chapter 37 verse 28 records that Joseph's brothers sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. This was the price of a male slave at that time. Exodus chapter 21 verse 32. This cold act of betrayal was carried out while the brothers were actually eating, confirming the first step in Joseph's path to Egypt. Question 14. Joseph's steward had the brothers wash their hands before meeting Joseph for dinner. Select 1. True or false? The correct answer is false. The explanation. This is false. Genesis chapter 43 verse 24 states that when Joseph's brothers arrived at his house in Egypt, the steward brought the men into Joseph's house and gave them water, and they washed their feet. Washing the feet, not the hands, was the essential customary act of hospitality and cleansing after travelers spent many days journeying on the dusty roads. Question 15. When Jacob arrived in Padan Aram, he asked the shepherds if they knew Laban the grandson of Nahor. True or false? The correct answer is true. The explanation. Genesis chapter 29 verse 5 records that when Jacob asked the shepherds in Padan Aram, he inquired specifically, "Know ye Laban the son of Nahor?" Laban was in fact the son of Bethuel, who was the son of Nahor, Rebekah's brother, making him the grandson. Jacob's detailed question reveals his precise knowledge of his extended family lineage. You're doing great so far. If you're enjoying the quiz, hit the like button and subscribe for more Bible quiz content. Share your score in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Let's dive back in. Question 16. In the genealogy of Genesis chapter 5, Adam and Methuselah were the first and last fathers listed. Give it a go. True or false? The correct answer is false. The explanation. This is false. The genealogy in Genesis chapter 5 begins with Adam and concludes with Noah and his 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Methuselah is the longest living man recorded in the list but is not the final person. The chapter ends by establishing Noah as the patriarch who would preserve humanity through the impending judgment of the flood. Question 17. Joseph's brothers seated themselves at dinner in Egypt from eldest to youngest, which amazed them. True or false? The correct answer is true. The explanation. The statement is true. Genesis chapter 43 verse 33 notes that Joseph's brothers sat before him, the firstborn according to his birthright, and the youngest according to his youth, and the men marveled one at another. This perfect seating arrangement, seemingly impossible for the Egyptian official to know, was a key sign of Joseph's profound, likely divine knowledge, and caused the brothers great wonder. Question 18. Abram was counted righteous because he worshipped God after the vision. True or false? The correct answer is false. The explanation. The statement is false. Genesis chapter 15 verse 6 is explicitly clear, and he believed in the Lord, and he counted it to him for righteousness. Abram's justification was based entirely on his faith, belief in God's promise of a future heir, despite physical impossibility, not on the performance of a religious action like worship. This verse is key to the doctrine of justification by faith alone. Question 19. 70 descendants of Jacob came to Egypt when he met Joseph. True or false? The correct answer is true. The explanation. Genesis chapter 46 verse 27 confirms this count. All the souls of the house of Jacob which came into Egypt were 70, 70 souls. This number includes Jacob, his children and grandchildren, excluding Joseph's own family, who were already in Egypt. This count marks the precise beginning of the Hebrew nation's 430-year residence in Egypt before the Exodus. Question 20. Joseph's wife was the daughter of Potiphar, the captain of Pharaoh's guard. Choose from true or false. The correct answer is false. The explanation. This is false. Joseph's wife was Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On, as recorded in Genesis chapter 46 verse 20. Potiphar, captain of the guard, was the man who had previously employed Joseph and whose wife had falsely accused him, leading to Joseph's imprisonment. The names are similar but refer to two distinct and separate figures. Question 21. The marriages in Noah's day produced children known as heroes of the legends of old. True or false? The correct answer is true. The explanation. Genesis chapter 6 verse 4 states that the children born from the union of the sons of God and the daughters of men became the mighty men which were of old, men of renown, heroes of the legends of old. These figures, commonly identified as the Nephilim, were giants whose power and evil contributed significantly to the rampant wickedness that provoked God's judgment by the flood. Question 22. Joseph's steward told the brothers that their God had put the silver in their sacks when they worried about it. Decide between true or false. The correct answer is true. The explanation. When the brothers worried about the silver found in their sacks, Joseph's steward reassured them in Genesis chapter 43 verse 23, saying, "Peace be to you, fear not, your God and the God of your father hath given you treasure in your sacks." This was a purposeful statement by the steward, likely under Joseph's explicit instruction, designed to ease their immediate anxiety and establish the idea of divine providence at work. Question 23. When Cain killed Abel, God's curse made him a restless fugitive on the earth. True or false? The correct answer is true. The explanation. After Cain murdered Abel, God declared his punishment in Genesis chapter 4 verse 12. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth. This curse forced Cain into a life of nomadic wandering and agricultural struggle, marking him as the first murderer and demonstrating the immediate consequences of human violence. You're doing great so far. If you're enjoying the quiz, hit the like button and subscribe for more Bible quiz content. Share your score in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Let's dive back in. Question 24. Leah had weak eyes as one of her distinguishing characteristics. Take a moment to think. True or false? The correct answer is true. The explanation. The statement is true. Genesis chapter 29 verse 17 contrasts the sisters. Leah was tender-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well-favored. The term tender is often interpreted by scholars to mean weak or lacking sharp physical beauty. This difference in appearance became a major point of tension in Jacob's household, as he openly favored the beautiful Rachel, leading to Leah's heartache and competition for children. Question 25. Jacob took olives, honey, spices, and almonds on the second trip to Egypt. True or false? The correct answer is false. The explanation. This is false. Jacob instructed his sons to take the best fruits in the land in your vessels and carry down the manna present, a little balm, and a little honey, spices and myrrh, nuts and almonds. Genesis chapter 43 verse 11. Olives, figs, and grapes, though common foods, are notably missing from this specific, carefully curated list of expensive gifts prepared for the Egyptian governor. What an amazing journey! How did you score on all 25 questions? Drop your score in the comments below. Thanks for joining us today on Bible Quiz Tube. Subscribe for new Bible quizzes. Stay blessed.